Welcome everyone to the story of another road trip and another racetrack. This time the road trip adds nearly 2,600 miles to the 290,000 already covered by our stalwart NSX. This journey from East Tennessee to Northern Oregon actually sets a new mark for us for the furthest we've driven to a racetrack. The 5-day and nearly 40-hour commute culminated in a short drive south from the Columbia River Gorge along the border of Oregon and Washington. There, draped across golden wheat fields with a view of Mount Hood in the distance, we find our asphalt of interest and a real roller coaster of a racetrack. Please join me in exploring Oregon Raceway Park, the 28th track on our lap of the world. Normally I gloss over the road trips in these videos, but this one I feel at least warrants a mention. Liz and I ended up driving a total of 8,300 miles across 18 states as part of this trip, and if you want to see what that was like, I've left a link in the description to our epic NSX road trip playlist. Now then, on to our feature track presentation. Now that you've had a little bit of a taste, let's start the main course with a little ORP history. Predated in Oregon by Portland International Raceway and the ill-fated Oregon International Raceway south of Eugene, Oregon Raceway Park, or ORP, may be the youngest of the state's road courses, but the impetus for its construction dates back to the 1960s. After Portland International Raceway rose from the floodwaters of Vanport, there was something of a territorial rivalry between two sports car clubs. The Cascade Club ended up laying claim to PIR, and Team Continental, no relation to the tire company, was left to organize races on whatever temporary pavement it could rent. Obviously they wanted their own permanent track, but it was a real slow burn of a project. It wasn't until 2002 that one member of the old Team Continental, Bob Caspel, spearheaded the search for land on which to build a second track. Caspel and a group of investors finally closed on their plot in 2005, with the initial phase of construction both beginning and ending in 2008. Now 2008 was no 2020, but it was still a tumultuous year. Financial upheaval rocked the country, inflicting challenging times on many. But those hard times did come with a silver lining for some. I personally came out of 2008 with an NSX, and Oregon gained one hell of a racetrack. Now let's put those two together and rejoin present day in the paddock. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Richard, this is Lap of the World, and welcome to Oregon Raceway Park. We are out here as part of NSXPO 2021 festivities, so it should go without saying that you're going to see a lot of these things out here today, as well as other Honda products. I'm standing just next to the front straight, so that's a lot of what you're hearing flying by at the moment, and we're going to be out there very soon. The track manager was kind enough to take us out on some sighting laps and explain a couple of the more nuanced points of the track to us. I think found that incredibly useful, in combination with my my little sim driving practice that I managed to get in. Hopefully we can have a fun day out, and that has hopefully shortened our learning curve. But let's get in the car, get out for our first session, and see what it's all about.
You all set?
Yep, all good.
Make sure the point buys are clear. Now we're using that. Top of the hill where Shad stopped. Look at start finish. He's either going to hold you or he's going to tell you to go. So
Sounds good.
Time.
Awesome, thanks. Released onto the track, respecting the blend line, going in here to turn one, driving to the cones as we were these have been very nicely laid out for us. When they do these instructional days, it's really awesome, I think, when they set up the apex and exit cones, because it gives you a perfect reference for where you should be or where your car should at least end up on the track. And after that, it's just a matter of remembering where the fast sections are, where the slow sections are, where you need to brake, and then figuring out how you can pick up the pace after that. So we're going to get out here to this section. This was probably the trickiest turn when I was driving in practice virtually, as far as figuring out where the car needed to be. This one was like a little bit of a lift. Yeah, you got a little yump there. And over this crest is actually a straightaway. I'm gonna cross here, go over this crest into a braking zone, turn in early. You can't know where the road goes, you just gotta trust that it's there. Drop into this little bowl, get up here, get yourself set for this turn, and then I've been told that you can do this one steering input. Kind of winds you down into what they're calling the half pipe, with, I think you can tell, good reason. This is ridiculous. That's one of the more extreme and entertaining track elements that I think I've ever had the pleasure of yeeting my car through on an opening lap. And with the sort of understanding of physics that it'll probably stick, but, you know, there's always that half thought. All right, coming down here through the last couple of turns and then onto the blind, intimidating, and probably the most dangerous turn on the track, turn 16. So we'll follow Shad around here in the driving ambition car, or we'll follow him at least until he puts his foot down, more likely. I don't remember how well shaken down that car is, but coming through here, track all the way out, giving me the point by, so probably not too far in the shakedown process. We can get up here, give our brakes a little pump, and we've done our first lap of ORP. What a brilliant place. I look forward to learning a little more about this, but I'm going to put you guys down so I can concentrate on what it is that I should be doing. What it was that I should do was pay close attention, because the learning curve at ORP is about as steep as some of the banking. With 16 turns packed into its 2.3 mile length, it would already be a busy lap before you consider that fully half the turns involve a blind element, either on approach or exit, as well as numerous blind crests in between. Never mind the camber changes, and yeah, up to 14 degrees of banking in some turns. If you come here cold, having done no sim practice nor studied video, you could easily spend a few sessions just remembering what comes next, and that's assuming you're only driving the track in one direction, since it can be run in both. To that end, though, let's fly a clockwise lap, courtesy of Wrap Drone Services, to see things from a different perspective. Crossing start-finish, your braking zone for turn 1 is blind from the ground, but get it right and you can roll decent speed through the apex and up the hood chute with the namesake mountain in the distance. Turn 2 is slightly acute and tricky to judge, but important to get right as it leads onto one of the longer straights, if you can call anything here a straight. A pair of blind crests drop you into the braking zone for the downhill turn 3, which then combos into maybe the trickiest pair of turns on the track, with turn 4 significantly off camber, making for a difficult balance between carrying speed and placing your car for the over crest turn 5. You want to get 5 right so that you can be on the gas early up Valkyrie Hill, as they call it, as this is maybe the longest flat-out section on the entire track. Turn 6 is flat in an early NSX at least, but car placement is key to gracefully setting your speed for the very fast blind turn 7. Trust the track is where you left it, and then use the far side of the bowl into turn 8 to help with your braking, and turn in and then balance your car over the camber change and crest as you drop into the half pipe. Channel your favorite skater and ride the walls through 9 and 10 using the banking to find sketchy feeling levels of grip before another short shoot to a faster than it looks uphill with less room on the exit than you hope. Once you exit 11, turn 12 points you over another blind crest into maybe the trickiest braking zone and one of the slowest turns on the track, turn 13. Following that, a downhill blast and open entry tempts you on 14, but don't get baited into an early apex as you run out of grip and track quickly on exit. 15 should be flat and leads into the braking zone for maybe the most dangerous turn. 16 is one you want to get right for your lap time, but one you really don't want to get wrong on account of the wall to the inside. It's one of the few fixed edifices in play adjacent to the track. Now check your mirrors and gauges as you power across the line to complete your lap of Oregon Raceway Park. Speaking of structures though, let's slow down and talk amenities for a moment. No, ORP doesn't have country club levels of accommodations, but there is more on site than meets the eye. Once past the ubiquitous welcome shed, you'll find a fuel station. Across from that is the track office and a gift shop that also sells some gear and consumables. Down the hill sits a large structure that pulls triple duty as classrooms, rental bays, and a dining hall. The lunch service was top-notch both days of NSXPO. And last but not least, since 2015, ORP boasts a very first world restroom situation and shelter right next to the paddock. I'm serious, the bathrooms at this track were nicer than some of the hotels we stayed in on the way to and from. Air-conditioned with showers, real privacy, and they even stock them with double ply. Moving on, save for the entry road itself, all surfaces leading to and from the track and paddock are paved. It's worth noting that the grounds are an ongoing project, so if you visit some years down the road, things may be even further refined, but even now, Oregon Raceway Park exceeded our expectations for a club-level track. Back out on the track, though, let's see what I managed to accomplish with a couple of days to figure things out. This was a challenging track to learn, but I think I managed to put together a competent, if not spectacular, lap by the end of day 2. I would have loved to have gotten closer to that 2-minute mark on this visit, but it just wasn't in the cards. I'm sure the car is good for it if the nut behind the wheel would tidy up his lines some. That being said, I really enjoyed my time on this undulating circuit. ORP definitely provides something unique and challenging in a track day experience. Let's bring it home, though, with some thoughts from a local expert, since I'm sure by now you've had enough of me talking. So I know you guys are used to hearing my opinions on tracks, but I thought it would be interesting for you to get the perspective of someone who's actually driven a few more than even I have at this point in time. Mr. Christopher Bender. He's our lead classroom instructor today, racer extraordinaire. And so Christopher, what is it, in your opinion, that makes Oregon Raceway Park special, and why you would recommend people come here?
So Oregon Raceway Track is by far my favorite track on the West Coast and one of my favorite tracks anywhere in the world. And it's that way in part because there are corners here that you will not find anywhere else. We have blind, downhill, off-camber corners, sometimes all in the same corner.
We've got, can confirm.
Yes, we have linked corners, which really require you to give some thought to how you trade off speed between the corners and how you exit the corners quickly. And we have degrees of elevation change and camber change that you will not find at any track in the United States.
Yeah, no, that all sounds. I can completely agree with all of that. And I think it's a great perspective to have, especially, you know, one of the favorites on the West Coast. That's high praise, because there are some pretty awesome tracks on the West Coast.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, thanks for having it out. Thanks for doing our download sessions today. I definitely picked up several tips from Christopher, so it was awesome to be out here, and we thanks for supporting the NSX Club and our little adventure here.
Thanks for having me.
On that note, with the checkered flag flying on the last session and all NSXPO photo ops done and dusted, it was time for Liz and I to head towards Portland and then a little bit south to enjoy the rest of NSXPO. If you want to see how that went, there's a link in the corner. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you enjoy this. And until next time, I'm Richard, this is Lap of the World, and we'll see you in the next video, if not at the track.